Peace, love, knowledge, and freedom, and welcome back to another exciting episode of the Just Sing podcast. And as you've seen from the title today, I got a quick impromptu for you. I know I've been away for a week, I've been away for a while, you feel me? But again, I'm just giving y'all time to catch up. Plus, it was my birthday week, you feel me? So I was, enjoying some time. A couple bullshit things happened, but a couple great things happened in between time too. So, I'm back, clarity, got some new thoughts, new ideas and shit, and we're gonna go harder and wrap this season up real soon. We got let me see, we'll have after this one we'll have what, 6 episodes left, 6 episodes left until episode 200, and then we're gonna get in. But we'll wait till we'll cross that bridge when we get there, you feel me? But today, as you seen from the title, we're gonna be talking about lexicons. If you following me on social media, as I always say, hit me up on my Instagram _just_sing_. But if you follow me on my social media, then like lately I've been in this bag of just speaking on lexicons and speaking on words. I always speak on words as a whole, but this particular direction is more so geared towards the power of words. Like there's a lot of words, but there's few words that actually tell you what the power of words are, right? And those words, in my opinion, are lexicon, jargon, and vernacular. Specifically today, we're going to be talking about lexicon as the bigger picture. We're going to be mentioning jargon, mentioning vernacular as well. But these things are very important because I look at people, I was having a conversation with a motherfucker and they were like, bro, like, you a chameleon. Like, but how are you able to maneuver in these different worlds? A lot of people think, they tie it to, oh, you smart, you know so much, you this, that, and the third and everything. And it's like, I don't deny that. Like, you know what I'm saying? But I don't attribute it to that either. Like, I am very intelligent, and it's my intelligent capacity that makes me learn things a certain way. But the biggest root of where I am and what I do and who I'm able to communicate with is my lexicon and the multiple lexicons that I have, sub lexicons that I have within. And so, in understanding how, just dealing with new people, it's like I always talk about the phrase, new faces, new places, right? So when you start meeting new people and shit, they can take you to different places. Like you get to get that exposure and shit. But the biggest piece about that I, never really spoke about, that I'm gonna speak about now today, is that new faces, new places means that there has to be a different level of communication, right? Communication is how we send words and everything like that. But you got to realize that everybody's not going to talk about the same thing with you, even though y'all talk about the same thing, because there's different levels to it. That's why I talk about the levels of the mind. That's why there's so many different things. But all of the components that I've mentioned in some way, shape, or form in the past regarding words are tied here. Etymology, all of that, they're tied in the lexicon, because your lexicon is your cage, right? Your lexicon is your cage, right? The words within your lexicon are the bars in your cage. And therefore, it's your language is also tied into that too. The language that you learn and language that you comprehend and understand shows your cage. And this episode is going to be very important because a lot of times we see, I know I'm guilty of it too. We joke on social media and we roast people, we, what I'm saying, for failing or not doing good at the English side of the language in school, like, because they don't know the difference between your and there and there, and morning and pray and so many different other things. It's like, and then they be like, they don't put that shit together, but that's the power of their lexicon. And it's almost like I could see what type of people, you can almost know what type of people somebody is based off of how they communicate. The words that you use the most. You feel me? And I was speaking and I made a post and I was like, look, you don't necessarily have to use every word in your vernacular, every word in your vocabulary and shit, but you need to have a vast vocabulary because that expands your lexicon. Your words are always going to put you in a cage. Your language has you in a cage. The goal of language is to learn and master it so you can expand your cage. And this ties into a new face, new places, because the way in which you're able to speak opens up doors to different places that you're able to be. You feel what I'm saying? We'll get into how that makes sense. But it's like, I hear people talk about, oh, my soul tribe. I want to find my soul tribe. Your soul tribe has a lexicon. Your fucking soul tribe has a lexicon. And the thing about this, if you're so, with your soul tribe having a lexicon, you can pick where you want a soul tribe to be. So I'm going to be discussing that today, you know, as an impromptu, because it's been on me for a long time. I have to get this information out, this whole conversation. So I'm gonna get the motherfucker out. But before I get it out, be sure to follow me on Instagram at _just_scene_ Be sure to check out my website at iamjustseen.com to get all things that are just seen. To all those who tip, donate, and sponsor the podcast, you are greatly, greatly, greatly appreciated. To all those who would like to tip, donate, and sponsor the podcast, you can do so by clicking the link in the description of your podcast. Not this episode, but the podcast itself. Cash App and PayPal are just fine. And as always, that's that for this and that's this for that. So we're gonna take a quick break. And when we come back, we're gonna dive into impromptu pop-ups, whatever number I'm on. What number am I on? 24, 23. I think it's like 23 or 24. Either way, you've already seen the title, so you know what number it is. But we're gonna take a quick break, and when we come back, we're gonna dive into impromptu pop-ups, lexicon, or the lexicon, however it flows. But we're gonna dive into it. And don't forget to visit iamjustseen.com. There, you can get all things Just Seen. You want to add the So For Real series to your library? Visit iamjustseen.com. You want to learn how to master the markets for serious trading and investing? Visit iamjustseen.com. You want to get your hands on some exclusive merch like tees, hoodies, coffee mugs, hats, bags? Visit iamjustseen.com. Are you thinking about transitioning into the plant-based lifestyle? Visit iamjustseen.com. You ever want to just chat with Scene about anything from simple advice to mentorship? Visit iamjustseen.com. Anything and everything that is me, you can find at iamjustseen.com. So take a quick peek into my world to see why being just seen is nothing less but always more. Because you never really know what you need until you see it, and you will never see it unless you visit iamjustseen.com. All right. Welcome back. Welcome. All right, you thought I was gonna say back again. Look at you. You feel me? But I'm glad that I did that because that's gonna make way into this. Like you see what you expected to happen, right? That's a part of a lexicon, even though it's something small. It's a part of the lexicon. I said, "Welcome back, welcome back, welcome." You expected me to say back again, but it created a world of which you understood what I was saying. You know what I'm saying? Where we're able to communicate, and that's what your lexicon is. Your lexicon serves as, of course, as I said, your cage, because I don't even want to call it a cage really, because it's very, very liberating. Because the bigger you expand, it's not your cage. Your lexicon creates your limitations, right? And growing up, this is something I used to always hear, and now it's bittersweet because I'm old and shit. And I'm not old, but I'm older, and motherfuckers be trying to act like what they programmed in me when I was a kid is wrong now. You feel what I'm saying? Never say can't. Remove can't from your vocabulary. It's deeper than just removing can't from your vocabulary. And I think because people don't really use the plethora of words, sometimes you don't use the right word. So once you have something in your vocabulary, you can't remove it. Can't is in your vocabulary. Like you know the word, you can't unknow the word. That's what the vocabulary part is. But you can remove can't from your lexicon. The lexicon is very powerful because it's the codified structure of the words that we use the most. And it creates the limitations that we have if we have limitations on ourselves. You dig what I'm saying? Follow me on this. This episode is going to go real rabbit hole-ish as always, but it's going to be real deep. This is a very woke one, right? So when growing up, I used to say, I can't do this. Never say can't. Okay. Don't say can't. Remove can't from your dictionary. Remove can't. I said it in a jam session before. I said it in so many different ways that like my mama really imputed in me. Do not believe that you can't do something. Always know that you can do something. And I didn't know at the time what she was doing was giving me a lexicon, right? In my lexicon, the word can, not can't. The word can is very strong. I don't feel like there's anything that I cannot do because my lexicon is built that way. So when I approach a situation, no matter what the lexicon is, and I'm explaining the different lexicons that I have, but the overall lexicon does not have can't in it. You feel what I'm saying? I made sure to not include that with what I say every day. So I've had an old head once tell me, he was like, he said, you know what? He said, He said, "You're a very interesting young man." I was like, "What you mean?" He was like, "Just from knowing you, because in passing we talked a decent amount of time." He was like, "Just in knowing you," he said, "two things I noticed that you never said." He was like, "I never heard you say can't, and you never speak about the past." He said, "You always speak about what's going on right now or what you are going to make happen or what's going to happen or what things are coming." It's like, yo, you always prepare for the future rather than dwelling on the past. And I didn't really think about it before. And I was like, yeah, because I'm like, my thing is the past has already died. The future isn't born yet. I look at it like a real reality. You feel what I'm saying? Logically speaking, I got respect and I pay homage to my ancestors. You know what I'm saying? I'm with the shits, but even still, I can't dwell on what's not here anymore. I have to dwell on what's coming because you got to prepare for the changes that come. The things that have already left aren't changing anything. You feel what I'm saying? But the things are coming will. Things that are coming will. So that's where I had to focus on. So he put that in perspective for me because he's like, yo, I never heard you say, you know what I'm saying? He said, and if he said, and I could see your gears turn. Like when you see something that's difficult, you still don't say this is too hard or you can't do it. It's like you can literally see that, yo, I gotta figure this out. And I realized that's a part of my lexicon. I didn't realize how deeply rooted it is, like until I looked at how I explain mastering the market, how I dove into it. Like, you feel what I'm saying? I've been doing this shit since 2015, studying and learning everything and actual experience and practicing. And through every loss, through every moment, I had such a inclination and a strong conviction towards getting it done that it was just like, no matter what everybody else is saying, yo, it's like, yo, you're not winning fast enough. It's not this, it's not that. I'm like, y'all don't see the bigger picture. It was like, even when I took losses, I was like, how do I figure this out? How do I make this a win? Like, you know what I'm saying? What do I have to do? And that's because of my lexicon. A lot of times people think, oh, just listen to the right words, right? This is why you need motivational speakers. And I tell people, you need a motivational speaker because they're now giving you the words that are going to either create your limitations, shift your limitations, or break them, right? Your lexicon is your internal capacity to do that for your motherfucking self. You feel what I'm saying? When you have a strong lexicon, you don't need a motivational speaker because the way in which you speak on a regular basis is motivation enough. That's a bar. That's a bar. But a lot of people can't motivate themselves because they don't have the necessary lexicon to do so, right? Because words intimidate them. Because we hear this shit, especially in our culture. Like, yo, you using them big words, college words and shit. They make it seem like intelligence is stupid or intelligence is some kind of disease. It's like, no, nigga, that showed me a different power because when I was young, I used to use big words and shit, like, but I didn't use them. So the way in which I got my vocabulary expansive, right? I never forget the moment. I was talking to my homeboy. And we was trying to get signed and shit to a record label and shit. Cause again, episode 200 is gonna make a lot of shit make sense. But we was trying to get signed to a record label and shit. And he was like, yo, bro, man, you already got the rawest flow right now, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, bro, but I gotta get better. He was like, well, he said, man, we ain't gotta go. I said, man, I'm still gonna go to school. I'm still gonna keep educating myself because I gotta get better. He was like, bro, you ain't gonna have to. I said, I will. I said, the more you know, the more you can talk about. You feel what I'm saying? And he was like, I was like, if I stay in this space and just keep saying the same shit, I create a lexicon. That's my limitation. You feel me? And at the time, 17 years old, my lexicon was fucking bad bitches and getting money. That was cool for that age pocket. But it's like I never really thought about more, but I knew that there was more out there. You feel what I'm saying? So talking to my homies, we would talk about like I wasn't scared to talk about anything with anybody. You feel what I'm saying? And that made me open to be able to learn in any pocket. So when I talk about how liberal and liberating it is to truly use words and know them the right way, it's not for me, it's not a point of making anybody try to feel inferior or anything like that. Because as you see, I don't use the words on a regular basis, but I just know the plethora of them because I create this lexicon for what it is I need to achieve. Right. And that's the first step in achieving a goal. I don't think many people, that's why there's importance in writing your goals down and being specific with your goals, because with those goals, you're creating a lexicon, right? And this lexicon includes and begins with the word can. Can you do this or not? Not want to. See, when we write goals, right? I've noticed this. I ask people like, did you complete your goal list? Nah, I wanted to do this. Because when we write goals, we write down what we want to do, not what we can do. I'm gonna say that again. Most people teach us to write goals according to what we want rather than what we can. And that means what we want to do, what we are, you know what I'm saying, or what we don't want to do, what we can do, what we can't do. That's what the initial lexicon is. So you have to have intention with the shit you write. And you got to be specific because you become more specific when you're actually doing something. And here's what I mean by that. When you can write down the exact method as to what it is you need to get done because you're doing it and you know what it takes to do it, your lexicon expands and now the limitations are dissipated because now you can use certain things. Like I said, when I talk about mastering the market, my lexicon is totally different with trading and investing than somebody else's. And because I try to keep my lexicon is vast, but what I speak about doesn't appear like that. I always tell people the more of something I become, the less of it I appear. You feel what I'm saying? The more spiritually sound I become, the less spiritually sound I appear because my limitation is expanded to what spirituality was like when I started certain things. So with mastering the market, when I talk to people and they're like, yo, what do you know about it? Like, because I don't use like the technical terms anymore. I don't have to. I created a lexicon where I don't want to be too complex, but I have learned all the complexities already. So my lexicon says I can do whatever I want to do. You feel what I'm saying? So for any of my students who are listening to this actively, this is a part of a lexicon right here, right? So Pete, within the Mastering the Market course, you know what I talk about: heroes, villains, pockets, pullbacks, battlefields, and all of these things. When we're in this, you're now in my lexicon. If you've taken the course and you understood the content and everything, you're in the same lexicon as me regarding the markets because I brought you into my lexicon. So there's nothing that I can say about mastering the market that will confuse you because you're in the lexicon with me. You understand the words that go into this. So this now ties into what I was saying about the soul tribes, right? Everybody wants to have a soul tribe, but they don't want to create the lexicon needed to be in that soul tribe. There's words and shit, there's jargon, there's vernacular, there's things that you have to use to create the pocket of the shit that you want to be in. So tying it back to the homie that I was having a conversation with, it was like, yo, bro, you a chameleon. How do you maneuver? My lexicon, my entire lexicon of myself, and then I create sub lexicons for where I want to go. Sometimes I got lexicons for shit that I don't even use anymore, but I got the skill. I got it, right? You know what I'm saying? I created a lexicon within myself to where I can stand in that space and not have to worry about fear, not have to worry about intimidation. And this is now, whenever I tell people I'm fearless, no, I'm not even say fearless. I tell people literally, I have no fear, right? And they're like, yo, you got to have a little fear or something like that. It's like, nah, shit scares me, but I have no fear because fear is fear is the lack of understanding. First step of understanding is to know the words of something. Period. Lexicons go hand in hand with your understanding. Therefore, your lexicons go hand in hand with your fears. The biggest reason that we fear something is because we do know not. We know not how not. The biggest reason why we fear some shit is because we don't have the words to understand it. You can hear the words all the time, all day long, but if you don't have the lexicon to understand it, it's gonna throw you off. Tying it in. They always talk about having black representation in things where, they kept black people out because each of these things that they kept black people out of was because there was a lexicon associated with it that if we let them in, they break it. They break the very thing that we're using to bind them. You feel what I'm saying? And of course, we got to have a conversation about religion because this definitely goes into it. Because the word religion actually means to bind. That's why I talk about that. It comes from the Latin word religio, religare, and it means to bind. Very important. We're going to talk about that too, and why we're going to get to why the biggest theme of religions, all of them, is to know the words. They forced you to know the words for a reason because that's the lexicon you're stuck in for the rest of your life. That's your limitation. You cannot go outside of your religion. I'm going to break that down in a second, but bringing it back, where was I at? So the words that you have, they bind you. So they create the lexicons to keep you out. So when they put you in a space where it's like, okay, we're going to get the black person here. We want that representation. but it's different because when we get the representation, they don't let us in on the lexicons. You feel me? They don't let us in on the lexicons. And that's one of my gifts. It's tied to one of my biggest purpose in life is to, help recatalyze masculinity, right? As analysis and deconstruction. Therefore, my intuitive factors there. Like I go into these places purposely to use my masculinity and leave. I analyze and break down the shit, get the lexicon and bring it back to y'all. I've learned that that is what we have to do. We get so much in because we have a savior's complex where we need to be saved and things like that. We don't tap into the fact that we have a lexicon that won't allow us to believe we can save ourselves. The words a motherfucker utters on a regular basis, and this is somebody who's come from a religious, very heavily religious background, who knows that these lexicons will lock you into an inferior complex that you can't do anything. You feel me? And I'm gonna show something that's very crazy as we get deeper into the and show the binds of how the limitations can tap in or whatever. Right. But we look at this representation as long as we have black people in it, it doesn't matter if you don't understand the lexicon. So I was seeing this example of this black dude, he went to the hospital. And again, this is something that I know because I've been on this side. The doctors were expressing, what was wrong with him. You feel me? Oh, you got a myocardial this and blah blah blah. And it's like, and it was like, so it was, white nurses or whatever the case may be. And they just walked out and they were convening, how people do at work. You gossip over some shit, as you used to work in a call center. So you hang up and you talk about people. We all do the same shit no matter the profession. After the motherfucker that we involved ourselves with shown their ignorance because they didn't know our lexicon, we judge them. You know what I'm saying? So they'll be like, yo, I'm explaining it to him. He act like he can't get it. So the black person went in there and was like, do you understand what they just said? He said, nah. There's a lot of motherfuckers because they don't have the lexicon have to go with what the doctor says because they don't know the lexicon. They're not in the lexicon. So when the doctor says you have to trust that he has your best interest in hand, but he doesn't. He has his best interest in hand or her best interest in hand. So this is how you get prescribed medicines and shit. And all of this shit, they tell you shit that you can't understand. It's a lexicon that keeps you out. For example, I know so many people who don't know how to pronounce their prescriptions. Think about that for a second. You don't know how to pronounce the very thing that is going into your body to alter it. But you have to trust that the doctor told you that it was right. You feel me? People be like, yo, I gotta fill a prescription. What's the name of your prescription? I don't know. Like, it's something with a G. Is what's it called? Jim Fibrazil. Yeah, that's it. No, you shouldn't be. Yeah, that's in it. You should know that shit because now the fact that you don't even know what you're pronouncing lets me know you don't even know what you're putting into your body. Regardless of what the doctor told you, you're putting in all of the capacity, what he said, based off of, oh, there's no side effects, there's this and the third. But there's a whole world that is a lexicon that people don't know. I know this world because I've been in it. It's deeper than just, I know I say, learn the Latin and you can, it's deeper than that. You got to know the lexicons of why they say certain things. You dig what I'm saying? The lexicon is all about, okay, let's keep the general people out of it. Let's let a certain qualified, quote unquote, amount of people know the lexicon and let's give it to the world, right? In such a manner that we're going to make the lexicon so far out of reach that they don't know the depths of what it is that they can change themselves. So when you don't know the lexicon, the most complex shit that is most beneficially you that you can learn from, you don't decide to learn. So when we look at anatomy and physiology, when we look at all of the things that are medical based, they're all based off of Latin, and you learn it, you know English at the bare minimum. A lot of us just know English enough to communicate, like because we don't read on a regular basis, we don't expand our vocabularies, we don't develop our lexicons. You feel what I'm saying? And the lexicons, like I said, that we do develop, they bind us and they lock us in. You dig what I'm saying? This is how religion is developed. This is why when people say you do shit religiously, religious means to bind. What is binding you other than the words that you speak the most, the way in which you communicate your life the most? You dig what I'm saying? So when I realized, like, I can have multiple conversations. This is just me personally. I can have multiple conversations with everybody. Like, yo, how do you talk about in one breath? This podcast, my entire setup is proof. I've given y'all all of the I've given y'all so many lexicons that I have that it's not even funny. But I'm able to be active in multiple worlds because of this. This mindset has led me to say, you know what, I reached my cap with the English language. I want lexicons in other languages. You feel me? Because I know what it feels like. For me, it's always been deeper. Like to hear somebody speaking another language. Like Spanish is cool. I can't speak Spanish, but I can hear it and I can process it. I know what a motherfucker be saying. I just can't respond fast enough yet because I haven't sat with it long enough. But I learn languages because of the very reason. You can't like once I know a language, then I can start to create a lexicon within that language by creating the vocabulary I need to be successful in this language. Then I can maneuver through the worlds I want to maneuver in. You feel what I'm saying? When I was in Philly, when I was in the master's program and shit, like it was in a PWI. So a lot of the people there were, them. You feel me? But the ones that were like me, they weren't quite like me because our lexicons was different. So the school we was at, I didn't live too far away from the school. So I was able to walk most of the places I was going. So, a couple of my classmates, they lived around the corners or whatever the case may be. They would drive, take buses and shit. I'm not knocking your hustle. So they'll invite, we had an invite. I was like, yeah, you come? I was like, yeah. They was like, all right, we'll see. And so they were like, how'd you get here? I was like, I walked. You walked at this time of night? Yeah, you're not scared? What I gotta be scared for? I know the lexicon of this environment. You dig what I'm saying? I know the lexicon of the environment, therefore I know how to maneuver through the fucking environment. Why? Because I know the lexicon of the environment in which I come from. The rules are still the same. Like that song goes like Jadakiss and Faz, like there's principles involved. This is why I'm so big on masculinity. This is why I'm big on the whole singularity of the self, and why I still balanced it with the feminine principle and shit. Because like masculinity is the analysis and deconstruction, femininity is synthesis and construction. That's why I say masculinity is principle, femininity is detail. When you are only focused on the detail, that is the limitation of your. That'll help create the limitation of your lexicon. But you need the principle so you can know which words to put into your lexicons. When you understand the principle of something, you can you can add and remove the necessary words to make you functional in that lexicon. You dig what I'm saying? This works in so many realms of life simply by how well we allow words to create our realities. When you're in a relationship and you have a type, that is a lexicon. I have an episode on types and attractions, right? Your attraction is the limitlessness that your lexicon can present to you because you're a lot more specific. Your attractions are a lot more specific than your types. Your types are a lot more general and vague than your attractions. But because we have a type, that's where our lexicon stays and we go towards that. We go to the places that this type resides. We go to we spend moments, we learn how to talk and communicate to this type because an entire lexicon is created around that. You feel what I'm saying? So now, when we go back to how the music is infused within this, I got the episode on sound, impromptu pop-ups. I think it was like 4 on sound. You feel what I'm saying? This is a lexicon that we create within ourselves. So the music that we listen to, when you listen to trap music, that's the lexicon you're in. You dig what I'm saying? When I was young, I used to sit around the dope boys and shit and listen. I remember, I told the story. They kicked me out the crack house. They wouldn't let me in there. They was like, no, we don't give a fuck. I'm like, niggas, babies in here. We don't give a fuck about them. You got something going for you. You can't be in here. Blah, blah, blah. I respect it. But I was around them so much that I was soaking up game, talking about quarter halves and shit, bricks and all this other language. You feel what I'm saying? That's a lexicon. That's a lexicon to either bring you in or bring you out. So like when motherfuckers be like, yo, man, I need a half. I don't know what the fuck a half is. You feel what I'm saying? I know what you're saying. I can process what you're saying. I can understand what you're saying, but I don't understand it because that's not my lexicon. That's yours. You feel me? Yeah, we hear the music talk about, yeah, re-up, stretching and flip it, put the coke in the pot, whip it over the rocks and shit like that. The lexicon is different because there's the world that has to operate where certain words go into play. That dictates and predicates your reality. You feel what I'm saying? That's why the hood is a mindset. You got people that's not in the culture, like, yo, I'm so hood, you're not. You're not, because the hood is not just the shit we wear and the music we listen to. The hood is an entire lexicon, an entire pocket that we use to survive in this motherfucker, to be the best possible versions of ourselves we can be within the confines of this. This is why they say you have crabs in a barrel. The claws of of the crabs in the barrel are due to the fact that you're speaking on a lexicon that is outside of the fucking barrel. The barrel is the lexicon. We don't look at it like that. We look at it as, yeah, man, black man, you trying to pull a man down who try to make it out. And it's like, when I get out, I want to come back and get like, we got to break the barrier and understand that I have experienced an entire new lexicon that I have to teach you about first before you come there. Here's when I learned this motherfucking rule. I was an undergrad, freshman year. And I talked to one of my right hand men, you know what I'm saying? He was like, yo, bro. He said, man, I'm in a band. I said, yo, go to college, bro. Like, you can get a scholarship just to play the drum. Like, he got good at it. I didn't even know the nigga could play the drum. We was always doing street shit and running around doing crazy shit. I didn't even know the nigga had the artistic ability. Like, niggas didn't know I could play the saxophone and shit like, because we didn't express the lexicons that we had, because a lot of the times we'd be ashamed of shit. So the motherfucker could really play the drum. And he was going to get a scholarship. I was like, yo, come to Face State, bro. Like, come with me, bro. And it was like, listening to him, he's like, yo, bro, invite me up there. He said something powerful. He said, bro, you know, I'm a street nigga. Like, the fuck? He said, I'm gonna come around and wild out. And when I saw some of the shit that was there, it's like, even my first year, I seen niggas motherfucker try to get, like, start gang bang. I was like, yo, put that shit up, bro. Like, we in college now, man. You past the time to start doing the shit, nigga. Like, you feel me? And I was like, yo, y'all niggas ain't real gangsters. I could have some gangsters come up here and pressure and show you ain't no real gangsters and shit. Different lexicons. Different lexicons. You feel what I'm saying? And so my homie's like, yo, bro, let me come up to one of them college parties. No, 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 no. Because we're going to fuck the party up. We're going to fuck the party up. Nah, bro, we ain't. No, no, because there's going to be some niggas in there. I was like, yo, and this is how I knew it was going to happen. I was like, you going to be in there and you going to see a Kappa throw up a diamond. And you going to think the nigga set tripping. Because you blooded. I'm like, hold up, nigga. You got to say what you repping, nigga. The fuck? Where you from, nigga? Because I know my niggas. Because they was pressing niggas. I watched them press niggas. Feel me? It's like, yo, who put you down, nigga? You feel me? If you wasn't on point to state your shit, it was like, yo, take this shit off right now. Don't ever let me see you wear it again. Those are the type of motherfuckers that I was fucking with. So when I come to college and this is a different lexicon, there's a different lexicon of gangsters. There's a whole different lexicon of gangsters. Like, yo, nigga, you got a GPA, so that means you're not trying to survive in life. I don't know what you want to come here and be tough for. This ain't a good life, because your lexicon of the hood determines a different reality. Some niggas never left the porch. Some niggas didn't come outside. You feel what I'm saying? I lived in areas where I had homies. I was like, yo, why you don't ever come? My mama won't let me be around y'all. Respect. Respect. She won't let you come outside. When I looked at the shit, it was different. I'm like, from the inside looking out, I was like, yo, we ain't that bad, nigga. We are that bad. Our lexicon is different. Our lexicon is different. We have movements that we understand. A lot of people don't. That's why people were like, yo, you can't try to get into the street life if you've never been in it. It's different, because you have a different level of respect that you have to maintain within that lexicon of that environment. You dig what I'm saying? So I couldn't have my homie come up, and I started realizing, like, he know about college and shit. Cause the niggas like, nigga said, cause this is what I knew about. It was like, he said, yeah, man, if I come up there, bro, I'm gonna be one of them niggas with the candy cane, cause they wear red. No, you ain't, nigga. Them niggas are straight pretty boys, bro. They're not rugged. Like, you're not gonna fit in with them motherfuckers. You might fight a couple of them. Dig what I'm saying? And I saw that, and I started to see, oh, we got different lexicons. It's different worlds. You feel me? You can't bring everybody into your same world unless you're bringing them into your world according to the lexicons that you two create, and they have to be on equal caliber with the lexicon. This is why I'm big on the 4 levels of the mind: belief, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Because not only do you have a lexicon, now you have a level to the lexicon. You dig what I'm saying? And this is why I speak on this. And so frail 3 is why I talk about these 4 levels of the mind and how to access them. Because it's imperative that you have a lexicon along the way. You feel me? I don't have a lexicon of belief. I have a lexicon of understanding. So this is why when I start talking to people about shit, there's like, it's no debate. Not on no shit like, yo, I'm gonna shut this shit down. No, I know where our lexicons are sitting right now. It's not fair. It's not going to be fair. You have to shut down. So people a lot of time assume they have the same lexicon as you just because you two are affiliated with the same set of words. Mm-mm, mm-mm. You feel me? I had a girlfriend one time tell me, talking about religion, whatever. Oh, you just wrong, Baba. She thought she knew it. I was like, something you got to know about me, and this is something that I programmed is a part of my overall lexicon. I don't speak on shit I don't understand. That's why these episodes be so long. But I also talk to people getting into the podcast game and shit. And I'm gonna tell you 2 points. So talking to people in the podcast, they're like, yo, bro, how do you have this much fucking content? My lexicons are crazy. My lexicons are crazy. I push myself to a level of understanding of everything I talk about. That's how I can get so long at them. Because I talk to people like, yo, I can't talk about none for that long. I get about 15, 20 minutes. It's like, it's because that's where your lexicon is. Your lexicon is your limitation. You feel what I'm saying? But it's also why like when I look at the pod, yo, they got decent content. They last about an hour talking about the same fucking shit. You feel me? I may make similar references. I may make references that I made before in the past and blah 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 to certain situation, whatever the case may be. But I rarely talk about the same thing twice. I rarely talk about the same thing. And this is also why my entire brand, everything I stand on, is just saying, nigga, my lexicons are like, I'm gonna go pick up another lexicon in a second. I'm gonna go find another lexicon because one thing that I always prided myself on is knowledge is power, right? He or she who has more knowledge than you has more power than you. It's the lexicon that determines all of that. It's the lexicon that determines all of that because within the lexicon, who sits at the understanding level? Because that's who controls the lexicon. Motherfuckers who sit at the belief level, they're gonna be the consumers. But the motherfuckers who sit at the understanding level, they're the producers. I know because I sit at the understanding level of the shit that I do, and I produce for y'all to consume. And by y'all, I don't mean it in a disrespectful way or anything like that. I mean, this is what it is. I go to the places that most motherfuckers ain't gonna go. So when I tell a motherfucker some shit is easy, in their mind, it's hard. That's your lexicon with the shit. Case in point, with mastering the market, I always ask people like, what's your, oh, I don't want to do this. Like, I know about this. Like when they tell me what they know, like I wasn't good at math. There's no mathematics in the lexicon of this. Now, don't get me wrong. There's higher math as far as like sines, cosines, how to find a way, but it's not difficult shit. You feel what I'm saying? But when your lexicon already has a limitation of what I don't know, it's not a quest to figure it out. Just I don't know it, so that's it. You feel me? Another poisonous thing that affects our growth as people is a lot of our lexicons. What's programmed and wired into is that you have to get something right the first time. I'm only at the capacity of the shit that I am with the shit that I do because I don't focus on getting it right the first time. I focus on getting it right. Therefore, I'm not trying to memorize shit. I'm seeking understanding and learning for real, for real. I broke that down in Soul for Real 3 as well. But all of these points, they lead back into this overall theme of our lexicons. You feel me? Our lexicons are never created for us. They're created. We are born into a lexicon. We're born into a lexicon. You feel me? Your lexicon is predicated by your mindset. The mindset you have determines which words you're going to obtain in this world, and the words you obtain in this world are going to create your limitations. You dig what I'm saying? This is why they can speak the language, but we can't let them read and write. Because then when you learn to read and write, you learn context, you learn intention, you learn conjugation, you learn different aspects of grammar to make the shit work better for you. That's all words are. The more you understand, the bigger you can expand your vocabulary. Therefore, the bigger you can broaden your lexicon to remove the limitations you have on yourself. But we live in such a world that people encourage us just to believe in what an older motherfucker says or a motherfucker we value says. We find out when we become adults how poisonous the lexicons were that we lived in. As much shit as I talk about the elders, as much shit as I say, oh, I talk a lot of shit, but it's from a point of understanding. And I tell people, stop trying to wake people up. This is how I know people's lexicon is wired differently. 'Cause I'm like, yo, you can't wake anybody up who doesn't want to wake up. When they want to wake up, they'll find the necessary lexicon. Some people just find a comfortable lexicon in which they can sit and talk. You feel me? I can have conversations on people, and I say this frequently. And people be thinking, I'm like, I know what chakra a person is coming from when I'm talking to them. I know what level of the tree of life they're in life when I'm talking to them. I know so many different dynamics, but I know what limitations they have, and I know where I can go with them. You feel me? I only like going in conversations when I can touch every point of every side of my lexicon. You feel me? A lot of people's lexicons aren't there yet, and I can tell because you know when somebody's lexicon runs out because they get that blank stare. They get that blank stare, or they'll start talking about shit that doesn't make sense, but they're coming from the perspective of this is all I know about what you're talking about, rather than sitting and listening and saying, I don't know shit about this. Let me listen. It's like, no, I have to, because we live in a world that teaches that makes being ignorant a problem. So it's in a crazy paradox because we make ignorance a problem, we don't absolve it. We just mask that we're not ignorant. You feel what I'm saying? I was just, and it's so much so that motherfuckers hate looking stupid, but love to play clueless. You feel me? Again, that's a limitation that a lot of people have within the lexicons that they've already created within themselves. People hate to look stupid, but they love to play clueless because it's like a victimized role. It's like if I say I don't know, somebody would do it for me. I don't have to learn it, or I don't have to develop that skill. But at the same time, I'm never gonna act like I don't know something. You dig what I'm saying? It's that balance. And I happen to run into it all the time because people be assuming I'm not in the space that I'm in till we actually break the shit down. They're like, damn, you really like that. I know, I know, I know. But I understand our lexicons are different. You feel me? And you don't realize it until you have a conversation with me that we're not even in the same pocket. And that is when people, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it just from like, because there's moments when I'm conversing with people and I realize my lexicon ain't touching yours. And you know what I do in those moments? I shut the fuck up. I shut the fuck up. That's the difference. That's the only difference. Like when people look like, how do you get? I don't give a fuck if it's a child, an elder, whatever. When our lexicons collide and your lexicon is greater than mine, I gotta shut the fuck up. I respect that. I respect that notion. I gotta shut the fuck up. I don't care if it's a kid. You feel me? I was having a conversation with a kid one time on a train. I told this story, but I'm gonna tell the extended version of the story, tied to this. We talking about Pokemon and shit. I was like, yo, you caught all 252 or 251 or some shit like that? He was like, they're like 867 now. Whoa. I joked about it, I'm saying? Little motherfucker, shit, respect your elders. We need to look at that differently. Yes, respect your elders, but it's not necessarily by age. An elder is somebody who, or something that has exceeded whatever it is that you're into right now in some way, shape, or form. That little kid in that moment is my elder in the lexicon of Pokemon. I'm older than him, well older than him, but he was the elder in that situation. When he started talking about 869, the different generations, I shut the fuck up and listen. That's why a lot of us can't get our lexicon. We don't shut the fuck up. We don't shut the fuck up. You feel me? People be looking like, yo, when I get to a point where I stop talking to certain people because I know you've making shit up now. You're literally just trying to keep the conversation going because you don't want to shut the fuck up and learn. You feel me? So literally motherfuckers really be talking out the side of their neck. I'm like, you hear yourself? You know that's not making sense, right? But okay, go the fuck off. Go the fuck off. You feel me? Do your fucking thing. I'm not mad at you. You trying hard to maintain, but go ahead, cause I ain't mad at you. I'm not. I'm not mad at you, and I'm not mad at you on the strength that I understand. I understand it's lexicons clashing, but it's a reality that we create a lexicon. Is like you can't say I don't know. Like the education system teaches you if you don't know bullshit an answer. You can bullshit an answer as long as it sounds good. It only sounds good when people don't understand the lexicon. When I tell the story about when I did my final presentation in undergrad, I was completely wrong to the motherfuckers inside the lexicon. Outside the lexicon, motherfuckers like, yo, luckily they ain't know what was going on because they clapped and shit like you put that shit down because they didn't know what the fuck I was talking about. They didn't know what the fuck I was talking about. I knew what I was talking about. I just mixed the words up and got confused. It was on exons and introns, but I used them. I called the exons introns and introns exons, and that one word threw it all, but everything else was still fluid. But by changing those words, it literally changes the dynamic of everything. But you have to be in a lexicon to know that shit. The lexicon of forensic biology. You dig what I'm saying? That's why when COVID hit and they said PCR, mRNA, this is how I called the plays, play by play, every single moment. Motherfuckers like, you gonna be wrong. I'm not trying to toot my horn. I'm not trying to brag or be on no shit like that. How much of the shit was I wrong about? You feel me? One of my bros, he was like, bro, you call this shit like a pool game, bro. How did you do? My lexicon for everything that I involved myself with was able to see this reality the way other people couldn't. This is how fear mongering really works. People think fear mongering is about making you scared. This is why I hate the fact that people have made fear and synonymous the same thing. I mean, fear and synonymous. Fear and scary, the same thing. They're not. Fear is an eternal thing of ignorance. To be scared of something means that in a moment you're caught off guard. You're disturbed in a single moment, but you can disturb yourself. That's not a word, but you can undisturb yourself. But when you fear something, it's because you lack the understanding because you don't have the lexicon that makes this world a reality for you. Therefore, there's limitations that you'll have. You dig what I'm saying? There's limitations that you'll have that'll fuck up your entire reality. This is one of those things where it's just like I was talking about it, how I got an episode on this too, where we're talking about your pause. You know what kind of lexicon you have to be in to everything you identify. Your mind is mentally processing in moments, in seconds, whether something is gay or not. You spin your entire lexicon is around what's gay or not. There's niggas that this your pause, no homo. That's a pause moment. That's a pause moment. They catch every single pause moment. What's their lexicon like? Constantly dwelling on homosexuality. Don't even know it. Don't even know it. And that's the principle of the shit. It's homosexual. Whether you're for or against it, whether you think it's gay or not, like that's your focus. This is gay. Like the whole thing about manliness and what we have been developed is like, do you act like a woman or not? That's why masculinity ain't what it's supposed. That's why I tell people y'all can't fuck with me when it comes to masculinity. Our lexicons are different. Our lexicons are different. Look at any motherfucking body who's on the internet, who's on podcasts, who's doing all the shit bashing, whatever the case may be, whatever this. Tell me a motherfucker who has defined masculinity. Of all of the motherfuckers you hear talking about it, show me one individual motherfucker who has defined it. That's the power of the lexicon. My lexicon of masculinity trumps these other motherfuckers' lexicons of masculinity simply because my definition extends and it has created my lexicon bigger than what the actual lexicon of masculinity is. You feel me? Look at all of the conversations about masculinity. What are the women saying? The same fucking shit. They're in the same lexicon. And because there's nothing outside of it, they don't grow out of that. Their expectation. And when the man who's going to protect and provide and you can't go half with me. What the fuck I look like going half? That's crazy as fuck. I am not going half. It's robotic. It's Matrix. That's what I'm talking like that. Oh, you have to protect and provide. We're not protected. We not protected. Fuck that. Why would I protect? How can I provide? Protection can't be computed in my lexicon when I think bitches ain't shit. The fuck? The fuck? You want something that doesn't exist. And you don't know that it doesn't exist because your lexicon is clashing with the lexicon that is being presented to you. So you can talk to your blue in the face. Why can't our lexicon won't allow us to get it? The fuck? This is why you get concepts like think like a lady. I mean, act like a lady, think like a man. This is why you get every one of these concepts is like, ladies, here's what you gotta do. We don't have to change shit. I literally just made a post the other day about rape culture and shit. And dude tried to undermine. He was like, "Yeah," he said, "Man, y'all need to come to reality. They shouldn't be in the club. They shouldn't be in those." I said, "Okay, cool." The post, it was shock treatment. I did it on purpose. You feel me? I made a post of a dude just in the club grabbing a girl butt or whatever the case may be. And I was like, rape. This was a perfect opportunity to talk about rape culture. And the nigga validated my motherfucking point. Because I posted a page from Soul 3 about rape culture and about how there's levels to it and how just because you didn't rape a motherfucker doesn't mean you didn't contribute to it. Right? He's like, so I was like, so are you saying women get themselves raped? He was like, partially. If you're not wearing a certain thing, that's that nigga's lexicon. His lexicon can't smash with mine. So other motherfuckers who are in his lexicon go think he don't know what he talking about. He ain't making no sense. Niggas always trying to sound woke. But what they fail to realize when that happens, I know how to condense my lexicon back to your world and show you, nigga, it's different. And then bring you back out. Now you looking crazy like, I ain't never looked at shit like that. I know. I know. I know this because you haven't even defined masculinity. You don't have a definition for a lot of the shit that's in your lexicon. I do. Every word I use I understand the definition to it and I break the cage that it can put me in. I have the key to every cage I can be in. The moment I'm in a world where, for example, when I worked in valet, there was things that I talked about that we knew about. You feel me? That I could talk about to a regular motherfucker. I don't get it because you're not in a lexicon. Let me explain it to you. I always bring people in my world. The issue is because we're programmed to this, we're not programmed to shut the fuck up. We're not programmed to shut the fuck up. So we base life on a reality of hierarchy for ages, not experience. Your elderhood is determined by your experience. I'm an elder to niggas that are 3, 4 times. Nah, they're dead if they're 4 times older than me. I'm an elder to motherfuckers twice my age. And motherfuckers like, yo, you a big homie to me. How am I learning from you? Our lexicons about life are different. About life. You feel what I'm saying? Like I just bought a car on my birthday and shit. Cause you feel me? My trip to Cali got fucked up. But I was still gonna enjoy my time. So I bought a car. I used to sell cars. I just bought a car. I used to sell cars. Everybody that I was talking to, they were like, yo, did you check the Carfax? Did you do this? Did you do that? Only one motherfucker caught wind to it and was like, damn, you used to sell cars. Why they were like, yo, why am I even asking you that question? You used to sell motherfucking cars. Exactly. Why are you asking me that question? I'm gonna let you rock though, because I understand your lexicon. I respect it. I respect it. But you feel me? They have to base their reality. You know how much shit in life you took personal? Cause you mad at a motherfucker for not being in your lexicon? Like, really sit back in that. Like y'all not even in the same lexicon. Like y'all are in y'all have different limitations with what the fuck you talking about. And y'all arguing now because your limitations clash. Didn't even realize it. This is one of the reasons why, like, when I talk to people about, like, they don't even see the degrees of separation when it comes to certain shit that I talk about. You feel me? I got a homie who was telling me, yo, how do you know so much about the plant-based life and all that shit? Because the lexicon isn't just about plant-based life. I'm not regurgitating memes for social media. A lot of motherfuckers, "Oh, Dr. Sabi said this. Dr. Sabi said this." Everything that you hear me say about certain shit in the plant-based lifestyle, seen is saying that shit. Did I sit at those people's feet? Yes, I shut the fuck up. I shut the fuck up when Dr. Sabi was talking. I shut the fuck up when Dr. Africa was talking. I shut the fuck up when Queen of Fool was talking. I shut the fuck up when these people were talking. Because when my lexicon came with theirs, I don't have it. But I want it. How do I get it? How do I get it? I need to break the barrier through the fact that my lexicon is good. It ain't. It's good to it's big fish in a small pond type shit. You feel me? Motherfuckers, your lexicon is your pond. Yeah, you the big fish in the motherfucker because you mastered this lexicon, whatever. How many other lexicons are out there in the world? Not only that, how many lexicons are tied to your purpose? Yeah, it's getting deep, baby. You have a whole purpose in life and you realize you can't figure it out because you're stuck in a specific lexicon that has nothing to do with your purpose or is only a small piece of your purpose. You feel what I'm saying?
All you keep hearing is get into the markets. But do you trade or do you invest? Should you do stocks, Forex, crypto, or NFTs? My personal answer is not a single one if you don't know how to read a chart. Without knowing how to read a chart, you end up giving all your money to those who do. Do you know what a candle is? Do you know the pocket of activity? Do you know the difference between market direction and market control? If you answer no at least once, you might want to learn how to read a chart first. Learning how to read a chart will let you know if you should trade or invest and if you should do stocks, Forex, crypto, and or NFTs. It will also let you know if this is even for you or not. So visit IamJustSeen.com to learn how to read charts with my Master in the Market course, ebooks, and webinars today. The world is changing. The question is, will you adapt with it?
When I say your purpose is found on the other side of your pain, this is the process of healing. I did the episode on hurt, healed, and recovered. When you get to the point of recovery, it's because the lexicon that you have now created based off of the healing that you established has now caused you to recover. Shit can't hurt you the same way again because now you have created the words and you have created the limit. You have broken whatever limitations that this situation has given you. But your lexicon is what's responsible for that. The words in which you surround it. Niggas ain't shit. Why can't motherfuckers do this? Man, these hoes ain't shit, man. These bitches always doing some shit like that. That's your lexicon. Those are the only motherfuckers you gonna fuck with. You feel me? So tying it back to that rape culture comment that I had with the dude, he told me, everybody try to make it. He ain't gonna take like this is where I know the lexicons are different. He didn't know gang. Like he's talking, I'm not gonna wear blue and go to a red area. Nigga, that's how you don't really know gang culture. The example was good, but now let me show you why you fucking up. Because you can wear blue, you can be wearing blue and still get caught out of a red neighborhood slacking. Like that's the game. You feel me? I'm like niggas don't just pull up. They don't what people act like motherfuckers in the hood just stay in the hood. Like they don't have no life to go anywhere else. So it's like when you talk about gang culture and shit, it's like, yeah, I could be wearing like nigga, no. I grew up in California. I understand the lexicon of gang culture. I seen a different gang culture in North Carolina, but the principles of the motherfuckers ain't. You feel me? There's an underlying root. If a motherfucker op wants you, they want you. You ain't gotta go to their area. They'll come find you if they need to. So I said, that's a fucked up premise. I said, so that's the case. It's like you talking about that. I said, what about schools? What about churches? What about all the places that went like every woman has not been molested or raped in a club? He said, well, she dressed modestly. Some women have been fully dressed and their clothes got ripped the fuck off. Our lexicons are different. But because our lexicons are different, I'm going to educate you. This is where that profane Dr. John Henry Clark, the ancestor and elder, he said, I only debate my equals. Everybody else I teach. That's what the fuck he was talking about. A lot of motherfuckers don't be knowing they equals. And they're not equals. Just because when we meet in a conversation, you can always tell when I always say this. When the conscious thought ends, the unconscious thought kicks in, right? That's your lexicon. You ever been having a conversation with a motherfucker and you didn't like you're flowing so well, you're not paying attention to that you just completely left them and they start talking about shit that don't make sense, or they'll redirect the conversation to something that's like, nigga, that ain't what the fuck we talking about. What? Now I get it. Certain things will spark a reality to make you think about a certain thing, but that should leave you to your limitation. Like when me and Bond be talking this shit, we have multiple conversations where we go through different realms, right? But each one has a depth to it. You feel what I'm saying? It ain't like we just switch a conversation and then it's like, all right, we don't switch a conversation because we've run out. A lot of times that's what happens when our lexicons don't clash with each other. Where they don't, when one is different because we don't know how to shut the fuck up. We don't know how to say, yo, I'm not hip to that. Teach me something. You feel me? Teach me something. Like this is like it's like a kind of like a gift and a curse for me sometimes because like in past, circumstances, like talking to women and shit, I'd be like, hey yo, they'll tell me shit like everything ain't gotta be that deep. It kind of do. This is my lexicon. It's not deep for me. That's one of the realities. Like, and we sometimes we succumb to that because we don't look from the inside out. Like we be listening to motherfucker, everything gotta be that deep. We internal. You right. Everything. No, you're not in my lexicon. You can't. And I always tell people, I reminisce about shit that a lot of people can't even fathom yet. Reminiscing is more than just, okay, I think about, there's words that create this past to make me remember it. There's association, there's a lexicon that I have that makes me remember this. So it's like to reminisce on something that some people haven't even fathomed yet. They don't even think what I'm thinking is doable. I got motherfuckers right now. I got family members right now who are adamant on the stock market is just gambling. All right, man. All right. I can't argue with that because I understand for your lexicon, it is gambling. For mine, this is a science. This is different. And I can't get you to that point until you're ready to accept that you have to broaden your lexicon. A lot of motherfuckers ain't ready for that. A lot of motherfuckers ain't ready for that. You feel me? Because our lexicons have been programmed for us since we were kids, babies. We came into somebody else's lexicon, who came into somebody else's lexicon, who came into somebody else's lexicon. And it creates tradition. It creates heredity. It creates all these different things that we think is some kind of scientific, biological thing that can't be changed just the way the hands are dealt. No, you change your lexicon by, you change your reality and you break your limitations by developing your lexicon. It's that simple. It's like the stronger and more vast your lexicon is, the less shit can bind you. And now we get into the uncomfortable part, you know, because we're talking about binding. We're talking about the lexicons and the limitations that we have. The religion is the ultimate lexicon. That which you fuck with religiously is your lexicon. Hear me, hear me, hear me well. That which you fuck with religiously is your lexicon because all of the words bind within it. No matter how confused you may be, no matter how much you don't understand it, that's your lexicon. Every religion, the theme of it, they say, know the word. It's powerful because they wanted you to know the word to create a lexicon within you. This is why I tell people there's two chosen people in religion. There's those who are chosen to be punished and those who are chosen to be free. As Black people, whether we're doing Islam or whether we're doing Christianity, we've accepted the slave as our lexicon. When we look at the constructs of, I have never in my life heard a white person say anything to themselves, white person, Asian, anybody that follows us who says, I look like a Hebrew slave. I've heard many Black people say it. I've heard Black people in our context, the shit that we talk about the most, everything is slave driven, how we ain't shit, how we can't do nothing or anything like that. Your lexicon. A lot of us have been, our lexicon was programmed as our religious, a God, a deity is the highest conceptualization of your mind. Whoever conceptualizes the highest point of your mind controls you. You dig what I'm saying? This is why I say the God of your enemy is your devil. What do you think is really happening when your enemy gave you the lexicon for what God is? Your enemy controls your concept of God. Therefore, your enemy controls you. Therefore, your enemy controls you when it's not even there. It's no accident for that. Because of the lexicon is there. But the mind fuck of the lexicon is so wild. People don't even see how confusing it really is. Because within the lexicon, you got to be careful of the shit that you quote. We quote a lot of verses. We quote a lot of scriptures. We quote a lot of these things that are contradictory to our mentality and our reality. I'm going to create a square. I'm going to show you the box that a motherfucker's put in. I was in this box until I had to step into the reality and understand something's not right. You feel me? I stepped out of the lexicon that this created for me by expanding my lexicon and realizing this was a cage the whole time. I'm not saying put your religion down. I've never been one to say give up I always tell y'all, understand the shit for yourself. This is going to really set a tone for how well you're going to understand it from this point forward. Because a lot of people will tell you just quote, they have so many quotes for you. That's the belief level of the mind. They lack the understanding of the shit they quoting. 4 quotes. I'm gonna use this just from a religious aspect. I guess Christianity, but it can be applied to the Quran too, because I've heard it. It's just what black people say, right? First point, right? Perfect example. I'm gonna use this example because I hear a lot of religious women say it. They say they need a God-fearing man. This is why we're in a new age where I'm gonna get to the point. We're in a new age where women are like a lot of the women they can't be with religious men, but religious men are all there are. You feel me? But it's like, why can't a man be a man? Blah blah blah. He needs because religion doesn't allow a man to be a man. Pah, go figure. But this is the point that I'm making with that because when we look at the religious aspect of it, every woman that I know is quote unquote strong and shit like that. There's a lot of women who ain't submissive on the inside. They single right now. They in church, you know what I'm saying they want a good type of man, a good God-fearing man, but they get them and it's like, it's not enough. Something's missing. Your lexicons are different. Your lexicons are different. His lexicon is, and they're both based off of a patriarchal, misogynistic perspective. So his lexicon doesn't need him to go outside of anything because I can always find a woman who's going to submit to me. Women always have to find a man to submit to. That's a whole different dynamic. Men don't have to better themselves when I have to. When the theme is submission, men don't have to get better. The lexicon doesn't make you say, I could do more than this. I have to do more than this. No, I just have to find somebody that's weaker than me. Submit to me. Women have to find something stronger than them to submit. Do you see where I'm about to go with this? Women say it all the time. Their lexicon, it says it. They like, I'll submit to a man who can lead. I'll submit to a man who can do what I'm already not what I'm already do not he can do what I'm already doing for myself. I'll submit to a man. There's a condition to the submission to the man, but that condition is that he has to be stronger than her. For men, I need a woman who submits to me. Therefore, you just need a woman that's weaker than you, never having to elevate. So here's the cage that I'm talking about with this lexicon that religious put. It's so many different cages, but this one is specific because I know for a fact it fucks with the mind because it fucked with mine. I was just able to admit it and move forward from it. For example, so they'll say, women will say they need a God-fearing man. Okay, cool, check. You can put that on the box, right? Women will also say, you know, the conversation is okay, person, you got to be God-fearing, right? DT fearing, whatever, God-fearing, right? Next thing is that God didn't give you the spirit of fear. Okay. Next point, God is everywhere and in everything. Okay, so sit with that, process it. We ain't got the final piece yet, but we got God. I got to be God fearing, but God didn't give me the spirit of fear. I have to gotta be God fearing. Gotta have the spirit of fear. God didn't give me the spirit of fear. Um, Damn, what was the third point I just made? God fearing. You got the spirit of fear. Um, Damn, I just forgot the third point. Now I'm going into the 4 point. So, all right, the 4 point was created in the image. You feel me? So we have be a God fearing person, fear God. God didn't give you the spirit of fear. Okay. You have why the fuck am I drawing blanks right now? This whole shit was fluid up until this point. All right, so you have the God fearing person. They want you to be a God fearing person. They want you to be a person also to, okay, that's what it was. Got to be a God fearing person, right? But God didn't give you a spirit of fear. God is everywhere and in everything, and you're created in the image and likeness of God. You're made to fear yourself everywhere you go. Your unconscious mind has programmed these 4 points into a lexicon within yourself that you utter on a regular basis. And whether you utter them or not, you internalize them. Even as a child, that duality has fucked you up. How do you fear the deity that told you you're not supposed to have a spirit of fear? What? Wait. Hold on, wait. I fear you. I'm supposed to fear you, but I'm not supposed to have a spirit of fear. You're everywhere and in everything. So that means I have to fear because they'll tell you never know when you entertain an angel. You never know when God is there. This is how people be so confused about it's a blessing in disguise. The devil's busy, then it changes him like, yo, God had a bigger plan. Because you you can't decipher it. Your lexicon doesn't let you decipher this reality that you're experiencing. And then you have God is everywhere and in everything, and I'm created in the image of it. It's like I'm created in the image of something that I'm supposed to fear that told me I don't have a spirit of fear. What? What? That lexicon puts you in a state of the entire religion is designed to bind you to confusion. Confuse words that you don't understand. Don't nobody speak in dost and thous and all that shit no more. But we regurgitate. The word says blah blah blah. I know what it say, but I understand the case. For example, here's another point that is an actual lexiconical. That's not a word, but I'm making it now. It's a lexiconical phrase that's, we say, um, no weapon forged against me shall prosper. I was almost gonna get that as a tattoo. It's Isaiah 54:17, right? But I changed my mind because I read Isaiah 54:16. Literally, the very verse before that, it says, "For I create the destroyer to work in your life." No, I create the destroyer to wreak havoc in your life, and it can only do what I allow. No weapon forged against you shall prosper. Wow, you make the weapons and send them against me, but you don't send them strong enough to destroy me just to fuck with me? Wow. Wow. This is why I say your God is the highest conceptualization of your mind. Because now when you look at your reality, you be going through some traumatic shit and you don't know how to walk away from it. Because you will literally tell yourself, the Lord is testing me. Deity is testing me. No, they're not. You're putting yourself in a fucked up situation and you're staying there under the premise that this is a test. It's not. It's a reality that is happening that is destroying you right now, and you need to get the fuck out of it. Everything ain't a test. Everything doesn't have to be. But when you believe that in your lexicon, the moment something bad happens, you think it's supposed to be. Something good is gonna come out of this. That's our fuck up with as black people. Our lexicon with our association with religions is that we have to go through bad shit to get good shit, and our lives play out like that in real fucking time. Look at the relationship with women who are the strong women who are like struggle love is a real thing. Women, yo, you gotta go through some shit to have a successful life. No, you don't. Who the fuck told you that shit? That's the lexicon you programmed into, though. You're gonna have to deal with a man doing all of this. That no, you're not. That's the lexicon you're programmed into, though. And that lexicon predicates and dictates your reality. You feel what I'm saying? This is one of the reasons why I always talk about that I've learned so much that you can't you got to be careful with how you talk to people because you got to speak to people. We spend a lot of times talking to motherfuckers and we don't do much speaking to motherfuckers because we don't know how to speak. Because speaking is where we're truly getting our associations for our lexicons. We just don't know it yet. That's where we're getting our true associations of our lexicons. And like I said, our lexicons have been programmed within us since we were kids. And it was never a point of us actually learning anything. It is accepting what our trusted resources told us. Here's why it's so problematic. For one, motherfuckers can't apologize. Motherfuckers can't really admit that they was wrong. Logically, for the growth to happen, they'll say shit like, well, parenting doesn't come with a manual. I'm all for that. Parenting doesn't come with a manual. But because of that, don't undermine what the fuck you did to another motherfucker's life. Because you thought you knew. Motherfuckers literally think about this lexicon. You wonder why your children ask you a lot of questions. You wonder why your children, because you say, I've been where you've been before. Look, listen to this lexicon. I've been where you've been before. I know what you're going through. I've done that before. And you're saying all these different things. Like you think I don't know what you know. So now when your child asks you a question that they don't know the answer to, and you'll tell them one, they might be too young for that answer because you really don't know. You don't want to admit it to them. Or you tell them they shouldn't be talking about something like that. Why? Their lexicon is now developing in regards to what you're saying, and you're silencing everything that they're supposed to put in it to make them a better person, to develop them how it's supposed to. They're gonna figure out the fucking lexicon. The moment your child, the moment any human comes to you with a question, they're ready to learn it. They're ready for the answer. You may think, oh no, you don't want to hear this answer. You have to answer according to what they're asking, but you have to understand the lexicon to give it to them. But motherfuckers is going, they gonna know. They gonna know what's up. But then when you spend all, I know what's best. I know what's best. Your life, I gotta. Okay, cool. Then you get there and it's just like, I did the best I could, or parenting didn't come with a manual. Damn. Now I'm already X amount of years in under the programming that this was right. You feel me? That's why motherfuckers get so angry when they find out a lie or when their reality gets shattered. It's not the fact that it's not necessarily the fact that the person lied or, certain dynamics didn't play out a certain way. It's the fact that they trusted something they didn't understand. And they expected that what they were trusting in was right, and it wasn't. You dig what I'm saying? My understanding, like, this is why I try not to argue with people heavily about it. And I'm like, yo, everybody gonna believe, everybody got different beliefs and everything like that. That is true. But everybody also has different understanding. And I'm not about to talk about my understanding with your belief because you feel like because you believed it and you're still believing it, that everything I'm saying is like off, it's off kilter because it's like, you wrong now. No, I'm not in your lexicon anymore. And I've extended beyond the lexicon that you have the capacity for. I never forget the moment somebody was talking about. Like, for example, when I talk about the letter J not being like that is a whole think about that lexicon. You live in a lexicon where a name exists that never existed in the time in which you're actually talking about. You see how you're bound to something you don't understand? Your lexicon is like the lexicon of the greatest man on the face of this earth. So they say. This is the nigga. Like, you got to go through him to get to the next phase of your life. If you die, whatever the case may be, you got to know him like you know what I'm saying? But that wasn't his name. But the name that you know is what you've embedded into your mind. So now when you read the verse that says, you deny me in front of man, I deny you in front of my Father. If you've never been calling me by my name, you never called me by my name. You called me by a name they told you that I was, but that wasn't my name. This is the cage you're in. This your lexicon. You feel me? And this lexicon ties into a deeper point because now with these lexicons, you have people having an argument. Was he black or was he right? Was he white? Was he real? That's a tough question to answer because it's like your lexicon can't even fathom that part. You dig what I'm saying? So when they program you and give you the lexicon that like this is the limitation that you're in, your conversation is different. Everybody's conversation who's stuck in that lexicon is, yo, was Jesus black? Was he white? Man, he was black because his hair burnt brown skin of wood. Nah, man, he was white. Da, da, da. Like, yo, it couldn't have been. Was he real? Jesus is not a real person. The jury's still out on Yeshua, but Jesus was not a real person. There's no way in hell Jesus was a real person, but the world believes he was. That's the lexicon. If the letter J didn't exist until 1550, Jesus' birthday starts 0. So for 1,549 years and 360, no, yeah, 1,549 years and 64 days, his name was not Jesus. That's powerful because your lexicon believed that that's who he always was. And you've been learning that since you were a kid, believing everything that you were told. Belief is powerful and poisonous because it's based off of two concepts, faith and fear. That's the entire conceptualization of a religion. Have faith in something, have fear in something. You create a lexicon that either pushes you towards it, because faith is going towards something you don't understand, fear is avoiding something you don't understand. But the core of the reality is based off the lexicon that you establish to make that a reality for you. Some people have the lexicon where it's, I have faith in this being. Some people had a lexicon where I fear it, and your life is predicated on that shit as a whole. You feel what I'm saying? And so these motherfuckers created the lexicon within where we stand. And we solidified the lexicon by not going, because we understand that if we go out of the lexicon, it's gonna fuck us up. For example, talking about the letter J, I told somebody who was telling me, about Jesus or whatever the case may be. I was like, yo, you need to study the council and I see it. And they told me word for word, if I study it, is it gonna make me stop believing? I said it might, but that's your lexicon. You feel me? They said, and they told me, I'm not gonna study it then. The lexicon is that powerful to where it creates your limitation, but it's also your cage. Some people got to be comfortable in their lexicon because they're not going to create another one. They're not going to create any more. You feel me? Religion isn't the only lexicon I have. I don't like. I have so many. I have so many lexicons because I chose to be free. I said, you know what? This is where my freedom starts. Peace, love, knowledge, and freedom is a way of life. It's a motto. It's affirmations. All of that shit. Those points I worked for a reason because I realized what it takes to have them. You feel me? I could talk about some street shit. I could talk about some shit in the medical school. I could talk about shit in forensic biology. I could talk about fucking poetic shit. I could talk about music. I could talk about. I have so many different lexicons. You feel me? And when I gain the vocabulary for it to be in this space, I just dive deeper into it and figure out the deeper pieces to it. Like, you feel me? Like, I say I make beats, but I actually compose music. It's a difference. When I say I make beats, motherfuckers think about a drum machine. No, I'm talking about syncopations, abrogados, you know what I'm saying? Crescendos, pisimanos. You feel me? I know certain words and shit that's like, yo, very, very soft, very, very loud. You know what I'm saying? Forte, mezzo forte. I know a lot of shit. I have a deep lexicon because it's like when I go into this world, I want to be able to communicate in this world and not be lost. You feel what I'm saying? And not be lost. But I come into these worlds. When I come into these worlds, I don't have a preconceived notion like, I know. I shut the fuck up and I sit at the feet of the people that are at the understanding level of this lexicon. Now, how many people want to do that? Because now we create this ego, we create this arrogance within ourselves and shit, like, or whatever reason. Like I said, it starts when we're kids. First lexicon we have is our religion. You feel what I'm saying? Motherfuckers be watching little 2 and 3-year-olds shouting about, oh, they caught the word. No, they copying y'all. They don't know what the fuck they feel. Because I asked the question, okay, so did you used to do that when you was a kid? Yep, I used to shout all the time. Ha. Okay, and you shout now, right? How does it? What are you catching when you catch the spirit? Something takes over you. Okay, cool. So you're possessed. Oh no, I'm not. Yes, you're possessed by the Holy Ghost. You just said it. That's the only logic. Like you're possessed by a ghost. Think about it. You're making a conscious choice to be possessed by a ghost. Why does that only happen in Christianity and it only happens on Sunday? And it only happens in Black Christianity. I never seen a white person catch the Holy Ghost. And I've had Black people say it's because white people ain't got no souls or whatever the case may be. Whatever. You can say what you want. I've never seen a white person catch the Holy Ghost. I've seen them try to emulate us and shout and stuff. I've never seen a white person catch the Holy Ghost. I've never seen a Black person catch the Holy Ghost outside of church. Like there's never like nobody's like, you know what I'm saying? I've seen motherfuckers talk about, and that's the part about the lexicon that I really wanted to talk about too. It's like what you don't understand is what binds you the most. What you're afraid to understand is what binds you the most. I had an auntie. Well, I didn't have. She's still my auntie. Like, but I got an auntie who we were talking about the will. She said in the same sentence. Well, I ain't gonna say the same sentence. I'll say the same paragraph because we was vibing and shit. In the same paragraph, she told me that you can't understand the mind of God, but you have to follow God's will. How? Her thing was, what do you mean how? My thing was, what do you mean you don't get it? Like, you feel what I'm saying? When you understand what I like, this is what I'm saying. My lexicon is different because I understand what willpower is. I understand what will is. Will is your tie to the soul. So if you're doing God's will, you feel what I'm saying? The soul wills the mind to create the thought that creates the action. So to do God's will means you have to understand God's mind to know what action you need to do. How many motherfuckers say they doing God's will and don't even know what the fuck they doing in life? I got so many people who I've had conversations with like, yo, I'm doing God's will. I'm doing Allah's will. Okay, what is it? I don't know. I haven't defined my purpose yet. Then you can't be doing the will because you don't understand the mind. Like, you feel me? When you consciously accept, I can't understand the mind of God, but I have to follow the will. You get nothing done in life. You literally get nothing done in life. Because the lexicon tells you that God's going to provide the will, but I can't understand the mind, which means that when the instructions are laid out, you won't get them. You won't get them. If you don't understand the mind that is leaving the instructions for the will, it don't. But your lexicon is set there. So this is why when you feel okay, I got to hear God's voice. What is God telling me to do? I ask people, what does God sound like? Can't tell me. You feel me? What I've always defined it as is like how I read it in the book. I try to describe it in my head and visualize it in my head. It's a thunderous voice. It's been my voice the whole time. It's been my voice the whole time. But that's hard to accept because you can't accept that it's you because two things have to happen when you do. That's the beauty of this shit. I'm gonna tell you the beauty of the lexicon of the religion. You don't have to be accountable or responsible. There's always something you can put your shit on. The good shit is God. The bad shit is the devil. Or the good shit is Allah. The bad shit is Shaitan. What is you? You live in a world where your lexicon doesn't tell you that you have to do anything. And then when you follow the religious doctrine that says, thou shalt not do this, thou shalt not do that, these are not saying I shall not, they're saying you. So then you become the preaching motherfucker who goes around telling everybody, this is what you should do. This is what you should do. You got to do this. And what happens in a religion? You got so many motherfuckers, he ain't done with me yet, trying to tell a motherfucker that they need to be done with. You need to get yourself together. You're like, well, he ain't done with me yet. Why is he not done with you yet? But it's like, you know what I mean? It's different, but it's a lexicon. It's the cage that you're in. These are the limitations you have based off of what you're able to understand, based off of the words that you speak the most, the words that you readily identify, the words that, like, your soul tribe is who you're going to be able to communicate with. How you going to communicate with them if you can't, like, you feel me? I got people I can say grand rising to. I got people I say good morning to. I got people I just say what's popping to. I got people to say what's cracking to. There's codes in which you got to maneuver and say, okay, this is the lexicon I'm in. I'm not going to say certain shit. I can't say certain shit. Certain shit don't fly in this lexicon. But see, that is an arrogant mentality when we go into the space of, I'm going to bring my lexicon where it doesn't belong. You feel me? I was watching Insecure and Molly got moved. She left the white law firm and went to the black law firm and shit. But everything she kept saying is, at my old law firm, we did this. At my old spot, we did this. At my old spot, we did this. She couldn't change to the new lexicon. It was hard as fuck for her to change to the new lexicon. So much so she's in a space where it was more competitive. She had to fight to try to beat out the white people to make partner, the white guys to make partners, all boys club or whatever the case may be, blah, blah, blah. And she still carried that energy over. And she snaked one of the dudes that was, you know what I mean? That was like, yo, we got to do this at a particular time. She played him and shit. And it was like, damn, he said, yo, you got it. The lexicon was different. Some of us right now are in relationships. Some of us right now are talking to people who we don't have the same lexicon as, and we don't know it. You feel me? When I tell people about relationships not working out, it's largely due to our lexicons. You feel me? It's a scare. Like a lot of people in general want my presence because of the way in which I can elevate you to a different point. But a lot of women do it because it becomes attractive, not realizing the different depths of how we gotta meet. So we come into the lexicon of, oh my gosh, your mind is so expansive. And this conversation that I had, I'm like, yeah, your mind is so expansive. I appreciate it. I love it, but I understand that we coming from a different lexicon. They respect it, they sit, they be listening when we talking, but it's like, I can't be the only one teaching. I can't be the only one teaching you. It will not work for me. It'll be great for you because it's, oh, you're sapiosexual and you like this, but it's going to punish me because I'm never sitting at your feet. But our lexicons don't work a certain way. So when I talk to women who are on some, I got to know which level I approach you from. I can have the understanding of the lexicon. Yo, you're trying to involve yourself with me for the paternal energy that I have. You like the wisdom, you like the guidance that I give you, right? But you don't like to have the same fun I have. So our fraternal energy conflicts, spousal energy, that's not even happening. You still broke about what the last motherfucker did to you. These are limitations that I had to figure out within myself that I couldn't be too open to. Your lexicon helps set your boundaries too. You don't, you know what I'm saying? It's like there's certain shit that I don't have to say no to because motherfuckers know not to ask me because the lexicon is already set up there. You dig what I mean? But we we often lose the sight of the sight of the reality of what the lexicon means because we don't spend time with words the way we're supposed to. Because that's where our cage is. I don't have any like on my page right now, my main page on social media. I have like 5 or 6 subsections of people. They only pop up when I'm talking about certain shit. They don't fuck with none of the other content because it's not in their lexicon. Only what's in their lexicon shows up in their radar. So now when we look at lexicons, I know I just skated around this whole thing. This is in the gist, a euphemism or semantics for algorithm. Your lexicon is your fucking algorithm. So if you look at the shit that you see on a regular basis, social media, the world as a whole, you created this algorithm based off your lexicon. So the words that you know, the words that you associate with, the places that you're able to communicate most, that's where you'll go. If you can't communicate there, you won't go. Don't even know how deep it really is and how subtle it is. But if you cannot communicate yourself well there, you won't go. And if you do go and you can't communicate yourself, you will try to communicate yourself without sitting back and saying, let me be observant. And you know what I mean? A lot of motherfuckers, be like, yo, Ray, you antisocial. Why you play the back and you so quiet? Then when I open up, it's like, no, I'm feeling the lexicon. I'm not gonna be here talking about some shit that ain't got shit to do with shit. It just ain't gonna work for me. But I got to figure out what we talking about here. So I'm gonna sit down. I'm gonna listen. Okay, you're talking about this, you're talking about that. Now let me go do some studying, some research. Now I can stay in this lexicon. Oh, this ain't even a lexicon for me. Fuck it. You feel me? This is one of the like I'm not afraid of creating a new lexicon. You shouldn't be afraid of it either. Don't be. Your lexicon, it shapes your motherfucking reality. So when people say, like, yo, how do you pivot so well? Easy. When I want to do something different, I go into a new lexicon. I don't just drop, and I never just drop anything that I'm doing. Like people be thinking like, for example, hitting the raw shit. Like I ain't even gonna hold you. I haven't like that's something I haven't been marketing the way that I was supposed to. Cause it's an old lexicon to me. Did I forget the information? No. Can people still hit me up and get yeah, they can still get the gems. It didn't go nowhere for me, but I'm not around that lexicon like that. So it doesn't make me want to talk about it as much. But at the same time, this is the other side of it too. You feel me? I learned the power of lexicons too and how much they can cage you in when you feel like you got to stick there. So when I started off with the Justine page and I started, okay, yeah, here's my master in the market page. Here's my Paula Cafe clothing page. Here's my hidden the raw page. Here's this page. Here's that. Here's the pod. Like yeah, I was doing so many things. It's like, yo, now I literally just put myself in several different cages. Because now when I'm over here, I can't post what I feel. I can't speak. I have to speak on what this is about. That gets boring real fast, especially when you have an abundant lexicon, when you have lexicons that are different. Because I don't feel like posting about no market shit today, but I got to. They always talk that shit. Like I be looking, I sit at a lot of motherfuckers' feet. You feel me? But only one motherfucking marketer actually told me a different game. Everybody was like, you feel me? You gotta lock in and you gotta spend time. I know sometimes you're not gonna want to show them do it. It's like, yo, so again, I sit at the feet. Big homie, Derek Grace. You feel what I'm saying? I was like, yo, I'm ready to scale. I got it down. I market it. I got it. I know how to do it. Now I'm ready to scale on a different level, but I said I need guidance from somebody. I admitted that. I was like, I need guidance from somebody to be able to structure all of this. I need to go into a different lexicon. When I went into this lexicon, I asked the question. I was like, yo, bro, like, what's the best way to market multiple businesses without burning yourself out? He was like, yo, you got to think about it. Like, don't look at it as branding the businesses. Just brand yourself. It's like, make it so that, and then when I went back to it, I said, that's why motherfuckers fuck with me. Because when I was like, there was literally people that was on all of my pages. And I was like, damn, why the fuck? It's like, it was never the individual brands. It was never the subsidiaries of the shit that I created. It was me the whole time. So I brought that shit back. I was like, yo, let me center it back to myself again, like how it was. That was the lexicon I needed to stay in. And bring the lexicons in rather than creating a lexicon that shows my limitation. I did a one-on-one session one time for Master the Market. And it was like, yo, so what made you get into trading? And then it's like, as we was talking about it, trying to get familiar with each other and shit, and just getting background information, seeing what we stand. I was like, oh yeah, I also got the podcast guy. But wait, you have all of this? This isn't the no, this is just the last thing I did. It's like, how? I have no limitations because this is a different lexicon. So one thing that I really prided myself on was I used to hear the phrase, yo, be a jack of all trades. You know what I'm saying? It's better than listen, don't be out here. They say it's better be a jack of all trades. No, don't be a jack of all trades and a master of none. But motherfuckers told me that phrase and didn't even know what it was. So I looked it up, because that was a part of the lexicon. I started seeing motherfuckers leaving quotes off, and when you don't know the rest of it, that's your lexicon. For example, when they say imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, you think that is a compliment. Your lexicon programs that as a compliment if you cut it off right there. Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. That means a motherfucker imitating me to flatter me. Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery that mediocrity can pay to greatness. Whoo, that changes the whole fucking lexicon. That changes the entire way in which you have to approach that and what you've internalized and how you're going to live it out. So now when a motherfucker imitates me, I don't see it as a good thing. That's not flattery. You're mediocre trying to copy my greatness. That's theft. You dig what I'm saying? That's theft, but that's the lexicon, one of the lexicons that like we easily get put in because we don't understand a full quote of a word. That shit crazy. But the point that I was making with the jack of all trades thing, it was like, there's several things that I just made to adjust and it changed my lexicon. You know what I'm saying? You can do that. You know what I'm saying? So it was like I was like, don't be a jack of all trades and a master of none. No, the thing is like it's better to be they said it's better. It's better to be a jack of all trades and a master of none than it is to be a master of one. I took that to the next level because I said I want my lexicon what I needed to be. I'm going to be the master of all the trades I jack. You feel me? Master in the market. I dove into it as deep as I possibly could because a part of my lexicon, I had a mentor tell me, he said it's better to be an inch wide and a mile deep than it is to be a mile wide and an inch deep. Boom, boom, boom. All of these things are a part of my lexicon. I don't have any limitations anymore because of the way in which my unconscious mind is now programmed. So when I see something, it's an opportunity to go as deep as I can with the shit. Masculinity, I've gone deeper than any motherfucker you've ever seen in this lifetime go with masculinity. You feel what I'm saying? The Hitting the Raw program, the way in which I went to the medical science, all of the different shit, like there's ways in which I did that. Like I said I want to be a master of all of my trades. Because I just started to think, like people be saying shit and don't think about any other possibility because of their lexicon. You feel me? When I left religion and everything, and I started, I was like, yo, I'm trying to be wealthy. I'm trying to secure shit for my generations. Motherfuckers told me it's better to, you know what I'm saying? What is it to gain the world and lose your soul? I looked them straight in their motherfucking soul. I said, what is it to gain the whole world and keep that motherfucker? You can hear a rat pissing on cotton. Why is that not an option? Do you see? Your lexicon determines your limitations. You know how many motherfuckers are afraid to get something because they think they'll lose their soul if they become successful? You know how programmed that is within them? You know how many motherfuckers self-sabotage their success solely because they believe they'll lose their soul if they do? That's crazy. That's crazy as fuck, but we're programmed for that shit. Some motherfuckers say, I'm just gonna stay here. And a lot of times it's us as black people. Unfortunately, the lexicons that have been created for us. One in particular, outside of religion, civil rights. We fought for the right to be civil. That's the lexicon we have to stay in, is to be civilized. You know how many depths, you know what depths of levels that is? That shows already that they already proceeded to see us as barbaric and, savages. They tell us that. And then now they taught, listen to how powerful this lexicon is. They taught us for years and years that we were savage before religion, before they met us, before slavery. We were savages, wilding, eating people. There was never cannibalism in African history, in any history. There's cannibalism in theirs, which is crazy because when you look at one of the greatest rituals of the religion of Christianity, is to eat of flesh and drink of wine. It's cannibalism. How do you conceptualize cannibalism if that is not in your reality? There was no reality in African culture in any way, shape, or form, any melanated culture of cannibalism, only in Caucasoid culture. So when you have a ritual like that, who the fuck told that story? But I digress. You feel what I'm saying? We get so locked in to the fact that we were savages, we came from slaves, and now we're civil. That's a powerful lexicon. That's a powerful fucking lexicon, because the lexicon that we don't program, that we don't assert, and we don't stand for is that we're fucking human. We stand on the principle that we're just civil and we fucking behave well because we were once savages. You only enslave savages. They programmed us. This is the lexicon that we have. And rather than breaking out of it, we try to find the best way to maneuver in this lexicon, or say, fuck this lexicon and fuck it up from the inside. Rather than saying, let me just get out of this motherfucker. This is why they're not going to teach you the history of knowing when you were like, we talk about it. Shit, oh, we came from kings and queens, but are you doing what those kings and queens did? Because you're following the lifestyle that made them slaves, not the lifestyle that made them reign. And don't forget to check out Cafe Clothing, formerly Just Scenes merch. Get all of your intricate designs crafted specifically for the melanated being to develop a positive imagery within self and to have a little bit of fun in the process. From the peace, love, knowledge, and freedom to the dead horses and water designs, all of the styles are crafted for the imagery to make you feel as you're supposed to feel. Because as I always say, the best way to fit in is to stand out. And what better way to stand out than with your exclusive styles from Cafe Clothing. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and end it there. This was an impromptu, so it was all over the place. And that's why I drew a couple blanks in the shit, because I ain't really, I was trying to flow with it. But that's the lexicon. This is why I'm so big on words. But in addition to being big on words, the words that you use to create, because your worlds are created by that. My fearlessness, when I tell people I have no fear, I never say that shit don't scare me. Shit definitely scares me. But my lexicon, it eliminates any fear that I have. I only have fear for as long as I'm ignorant to something. You dig what I'm saying? When I start to learn shit, and then it's like, that's why I say I get to a point where I reminisce what motherfuckers haven't fathomed yet. You feel me? I got people asking me about reverse splits. I be forgetting about reverse splits because I don't give a fuck about a reverse split, because I trade like an investor and I invest like a trader. I'm about getting in and getting out. I know this shit ain't gonna last a long time, but I know that if I read this motherfucking market the same way, I can get in and get out. You dig what I'm saying? People be like, yo, why you speak with so conviction? With such conviction, my lexicon allows me to do that shit. You feel me? The shit that I be talking about like relationships and shit, I got a lexicon for that shit. I got a lexicon about psychology and the mind. I got so many different lexicons because it's like I said, I went into a quest where I said knowledge is power. I want nobody to have power over me. No human being could have power over me. No human being can have power over me. The only way that they can have power over me is if I don't know what they know. You see, when motherfuckers can see how well you can dance with them and they shit, they don't try to stand over you anymore. Some people will stay away from you when they realize how far you are into a situation, because of the ego and the arrogance, and they're intimidated. They don't want to, tap in and learn from you. They won't shut the fuck up. You feel what I'm saying? But that's what shatters my limitations. I create the lexicons of what I want. Like if I want to be involved in something, I'm gonna do it. My lexicon's about to get crazy over the next 10 years because now I'm finally in the position that I wanted to be, that I started off in. I said, I just want to learn languages and study. I thought I studied before. I'm not afraid to study anything. You feel what I'm saying? I'm not afraid to learn anything. This is why it's like I always, this is why I'm so big on, if you read Soul 3, you even heard conversations. I say, study and know the antithesis of a thing. You need to know the opposite. That lets you know where your lexicon really is. When you like, you can see all the borders of your lexicon and you break the walls down. You feel me? Whatever it is that you stay wrapped up in the most, that's where you're going to stay. I don't want to be confined. That's why my shit is just seen. You feel me? I'm not saying I'm talking about relationships. I'm not going to like, I talk about relationships. I talk about entrepreneurship. I talk about fucking spirituality. I talk about religion. I talk about plant-based shit. I talk about markets. I talk about marketing. I talk about advertising. Talk about everything. Why? Because there's that's how you learn in this world. That's what you're here for. You're here to engage and interface with so much shit. Talk about animals. You feel me? I got a lexicon about a lot of shit because I'm free. When I go to a networking event, when I go to an event, I can sit and listen to who's talking about what, and I can engage with them. I'm not hearing them just so I can respond and sound smart. I'm like, I would tell a motherfucker in real time right now, I don't know shit about that. Teach me. And I always can tell what type of motherfucker I'm dealing with based on their response to that. If they tell me on one hand, I can't believe you didn't know that, my lexicon pisses them off. And I don't need to be talking to them anymore because their lexicon is nowhere near where mine is. The fact that they assumed I was supposed to know something that I just told them they didn't shows that they didn't even fathom it. See what I'm saying? I reminisce on what shit motherfuckers can't fathom, ain't fathomed yet. You feel me? When I'm at a conversation with a person and I'm pushing the wall and I'm starting to go beyond their limit, they're like, you just got to do your own research. Or they'll completely change the whole conversation, not realizing that I know what you're doing. They don't even realize that, like I said, when the conscious thought runs out, the unconscious mind kicks in. And you have to respond to what your lexicon has programmed you with. You feel me? I've had motherfuckers want to have debates with me about the religion, and before the debate is up, while we're going back and forth, I can admit I don't understand it that well. And I can admit that I do. And I told you that I understood it this well, but you assumed that I didn't. And now look at you, stuck with some shit that you got to learn, and you can't unsee this shit now. Because you chose to be an asshole, like, yo, you just gotta, you think you know it, but you just don't. You'd be surprised how well I know it. You'll be surprised how well I know a lot of shit because I realized the power of a lexicon. I literally changed my entire world by the words that I chose to come into my space. Episode 200 is really going to put a lot more light to this because that moment in my life transformed me. But it opened me up to realize how much shit I had allowed to dictate and control my life that was not what I wanted. You feel what I'm saying? So sitting yourself in that box and locking yourself in, that's the box. Like that's the thing. When you in school, they be like, yo, think outside the box. You can't think outside the box. The box is the lexicon. You feel what I'm saying? Your teacher tells you the words, the information that is putting you in the box and tells you to think outside of it. You didn't give me anything to know that there's something else outside the box. You dig what I'm saying? This is why I used to give me when motherfuckers say, like, yo, the study guide. It wasn't like the study guide. They had no lexicons. They had no lexicons. That's why I would tell people it doesn't matter if the study guide changed. I know the material because my lexicon for this is solid. I built the vocabulary. I built the whole lexicon as to what is going to like. So when I see that what I'm being tested on, I'm not really tested because I'm not trying to recollect. My lexicon is already set for this. And that's what I want for people. I want for everybody. Like, yo, create your lexicons because that's going to determine how far you can go in this world. And talk to motherfuckers who satisfy the lexicon that you want, not the lexicon that you have. You have motherfuckers that are literally hype talking you out of shit that you can literally do. You feel me? I did an episode on this. It was entrepreneurs. I want to say it was advice and reassurance. We go to people to we get reassured by people. We get reassured by people that our focus is to get advice from. So when we ask them about a situation, you're asking the wrong motherfucker. You're asking a motherfucker not in the lexicon of where you're going. You dig what I'm saying? With trading and investing, I'm gonna end with this one. Like with trading and investing, I had a student who would talk about um how the markets would the person that they were teaching was like, yeah, they got me paying monthly for this, they got me, and I could not fathom, like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, yo, will I have to pay monthly? How much am I gonna have to pay? When am I gonna start doing this? Do I gotta invest and do I gotta bring people in? Nigga, no, I'm gonna give you the course, you're gonna learn the shit and get the fuck out of my face. What are you talking about? Nah, because everybody keeps saying they're gonna teach it. Then when I get in there, I don't learn anything. I just keep paying monthly, and I get indicators. I get take this trade, but then it's still risky and this that. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? You got to I don't know shit about Telegram. I don't know shit about them. But you know why? Because my lexicon is not about the MLM style of trading. My lexicon is about understanding what the fuck the market is telling you. So I don't know shit about that other shit. This is the shit that I know. But when our theme is about the markets, we're coming into with the lexicon market. A market lexicon, and we're having to look at it from a different perspective. So I have to bring you in the process of that. I have to bring you to my lexicon. That's where it gets hard because a lot of motherfuckers can't even fathom the lexicon that I'm in because their lexicon is used to. And as me and the person, we had a conversation and they were like, yo, I've lost so much with these people. I've lost so much with that. Y'all gurus did it. And like, they're mad at me because my shit is not cookie cutter. My shit is about really knowing what the fuck is going on to say, the market about to turn right now. Oh, the market about to do this. Oh, it's going. Oh shit, this is a trap. I'm gonna go ahead and get in and go against these motherfuckers. It's a whole process that plays itself out. A lot of motherfuckers ain't built for it. You dig what I'm saying? It's on me to show you to get you to my lexicon. All of my students now, when I talk about the upper hand, they like, bruh, I missed the upper hand. Like I can tell, like my students can hit me up still, because some of them still make mistakes. Because I still make mistakes. Sometimes it's like you get stopped out. You know what I mean? What the fuck? It's life. But I have a lot more wins than I have losses. Let me go ahead and say that there. But I want to be honest. Like you're gonna lose. You feel me? But when my students lose or when something goes against them, I ask them what happened, and it makes me feel so good because they be like, "Bruh, man, I got in too early." And it's not just that I got in too early. It's like, what part of the market was it in? Man, it was in a motherfucking battlefield and the upper end ain't happened yet. And so I wanted to get in before the battlefield because I was trying to do like you be doing. And then I got in before the battlefield, got the upper hand, and I forgot the upper hand got to come back. Their lexicon was so on point. They told me everything that happened, why they didn't get it. Rather than being in an experience where your lexicon is like, why did you fail? I don't know. I just can't get it. It just ain't for me. If you don't know what's for you, your lexicon is too limited. All of my students, if they get the question, if they get the trade or investment right or wrong, they get the market read, they know why the fuck they missed it. That's a different level of power for me. That's a different level of power for them. Because you know why? They don't even have to come back to me anymore. You feel me? At this point, our conversations are simple. It'd be like, yo, so I'm looking at the stock, right? And I want to get in. All right, what part of the market is it? I just ask them shit. I'm like, what part of the market is in? All right, it's in the upper hand, but like the final do it. So should I get in now? Okay. And this is why I teach it where I teach it, because when they ask, like, my stock people, they don't need stop losses. They don't need shit like that because you just got to weather the storm. So I'm like, yo, if you were trading Forex right now, where would you set your stop loss? And they were like, yo, it'll be wait. Never mind. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait. I'm like, see, it's it. I give you the lexicon so you're not confused about shit. You know every point of the market that something is happening. You know what's going on. So when you see a motherfucking news event and be like, oh, this is going, I ain't fucking with it. That shit late anyway. The move already happened. And you were likely already in it by the time the news played out. You dig what I'm saying? So these things, these moments, these realities, the pocket of lexicon, when you have a certain lexicon, this is why you have to expand your mind and continue to push it. Leave motherfuckers alone. If your lexicon, I'm just using dimension, if your lexicon is a 16 by 16. Stop arguing with motherfuckers who got a 4 by 4. Nigga, they too small for your lexicon. But you trying to be all modest and humble and shit, and you reducing your 16 by 16 to a 4 by 4, letting a motherfucker that's a 4 by 4 thinking they got rain in this motherfucker. You feel me? A lot of times I ignore people and I don't talk to them. A lot of people thinking, oh, I'm being stuck up and everything. No, our lexicons are totally different. I know I'm gonna beat your motherfucking ass and make you look stupid. You know how many conversations I've had with motherfuckers who say, yo, bro, you made me feel stupid. I didn't make you feel stupid. You already felt stupid. I just brought it out of you. My lexicon lets you see that you don't really know what you think you know. And that's cool because that's how growth happens. It happens to me all the fucking time. When I reach a cap in something, I know that there's a big homie or a big dog or somebody who's better at it than me. I'm gonna go sit at their feet to figure out why the fuck I'm stuck. Rather than saying, you know what? This motherfucker think they all that. No, I think this motherfucker all that. That's why they know what I don't know. I know shit that they say shit. I hear those words and I don't understand them. It's like, you talking about what? You talking about this? Talking about that? Oh shit. I ain't never heard that before. Let me dive deeper into it. I had an elder, a mentor tell me one time, he said, you can only say, I don't know one time and get away with it. Changed my life forever. Again, lexicon shit. There's a lot of shit programmed in my lexicon to where there's nothing that I cannot do. You feel me? I heard Jay say, difficult takes a day, impossible takes a week. It's in my lexicon too. It shapes, I don't have any limitations. I don't have any limitations. And a lot of people think when I say that shit, it's like off rip, I'm good at everything first. No, I'm just persistent. I'm just persistent enough to get through it and realize it's more to it. I get excited about the challenge of learning something. It's like bringing everything 360 degrees full circle, like going through the full tree of life with a process. I do this shit with everything in life. And that's how it develops my lexicon to where I create the world I want to be in. And only people who are on that space with me in that lexicon can be there too. And I can only go to a lexicon that I'm there. Consciousness, woke shit, all of that shit, esoteric shit, that's a whole different lexicon. I'm in that bitch though. And every lexicon that I have condenses down to profane profundity. So I'm gonna go ahead and end it there. Go kiss your babies. Make sure they eat their vegetables. And understand your baby's reality is not shaped by how you raise them, how you train them. It's how you it's the lexicon you create for them, the words that they're able to internalize and create their reality for. So the whole do as I say, not as I do, that's problematic because the two realities conflict. Because you're saying one thing, you're doing another. They're going to emulate what you do and internalize what you say. Now you just created a whole confusion for your baby to where they're going to do what you say and not what you do, but in your presence. But the confusion is they're going to do what they want to do in regards to their lexicon as it pertains to consequence. Nothing else. Their action is going to be predicated upon, yo, you said do what I say, right? That's the words creating the lexicon, but then your actions are saying something different. So that means all I have to do is do what you do and don't get caught. And you wonder why kids lie so fluidly? They know what they did was wrong. They know that what I'm coming to you about is not in the lexicon. It's in the lexicon for an ass whooping, though. So now I got to lie to get the point because it's like, don't worry about what I say. Worry about what I do. No, 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 no. I said it backwards. It's don't worry about what I do. Worry about what I say. Right? Because technically, when you tell a child to do what I say, not what I do, you're lying to them. When your actions and your words don't align. So you wonder why they lie. So why y'all just lie? Why you lie so much? Because I was taught to do what it said, but not what it's done. And what is done is not in line with what it said. So I don't do what is in line with what it said. So I lie to you to tell you what I actually did or what I thought I should do because it appeases you. Because the actions don't, it's deep. And babies, this shit is set up from a jump. Why the motherfuckers lie? We got to. We're conditioned to. You feel me? Don't lie to me. The lexicon is already set. I gotta lie. I gotta lie. This is how I'm programmed. You feel me? Pablo Escobar said, you only lie to people you fear. But now fear, is the lack of understanding. When a motherfucker gives you a lexicon that you got to say and they don't teach you outside of that lexicon, or when you try to learn outside of the lexicon, you may be too young to know about certain shit, or they don't have the patience for you, they tell you to look it up on your own. That should tell you everything about what cage you're in. You feel me? I've broken out of so many cages now that they don't even, like, they can't even oh, you change. I'm supposed to. I have multiple lexicons now, and you're still in the same lexicon that you were in when you put me in that lexicon. I broke out and you can't. You feel me? Make sure your babies are aware of lexicons and you start to pay attention to the music they listen to, the friends they hang around, because the words they hear and they speak about the most, their daily conversation is their lexicon. Your daily conversation is your lexicon. You feel me? What are you going to do with it? How are you going to treat your babies to teach your babies to prepare themselves for the lexicon? You want your child to be great, you got to do more than tell them they can do anything they want to do. You got to teach them how to create a lexicon based off of the results of them being able to do what they want to do. When I tell people I can't fail this shit, it's because I really can't fail this shit. Because a failure only sticks when you give up. I don't give up at shit, but I create a lexicon that says, I got to know this. And once I master some shit, that's it. Then I move on from it. You feel me? That's why I have so many different things that I can, like, I'm the plug when my homies is buying cars because they know I'm going to tell them how to break it down. Like, I'm the plug on so many different shit. And it's like, damn, bro. But it's the lexicon. I'm not willing to not willing to be able to be in a situation where I can converse about some shit. And if I can't, I shut the fuck up. I don't talk matter of factly like I know some shit that I have an opinion about. Because when the facts come out now, oh, see, you always trying to debate. I'm not trying to debate. I'm telling you what my lexicon is. I'm telling you the world that I've dived into based off of this. I thought you dove as deep as me because you're talking about it. You got to shut the fuck up. I'm always willing to shut the fuck up. A lot of motherfuckers ain't. But have your babies be willing to shut the fuck up within the context. But at the same time, if your lexicons are the same, you can't just tell your baby to shut the fuck up. They have free reign to talk because you have not extended beyond that lexicon. So always keep that in mind. But I'm going to end it there. Go kiss your babies. Make sure to eat their vegetables. And I'm going to see y'all on the next one. Peace, love, knowledge, and freedom. I'm out.